Hello, welcome to Art This Week. We are going to be celebrating Earth Day. And to do that, we are going to work on a project where we decorate containers that you can either use as a planter or you can use it to hold pencils or markers or anything else that you have that you want to hold in your container. For today's project, you are going to need a container that you want to decorate. I have several here that you can see. You are going to need either some paper and or some tissue paper. You are going to need either flour, as in the cooking flour, or glue, and you're going to need some water. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the mixture to keep the paper on. So this is called paper mache or decoupage, depending on what you're using to attach your paper to the container. It is paper mache if you use flour. So I got just regular flour that you cook with. I'm using a recycled container. I put just a little bit in the bottom and just added water until it was about this consistency. I made sure that there was no more lumps. So it's pretty runny. And that is my flour and water mixture. Now, if you have glue, you can use glue. And if you use glue, it's called decoupage. And so in here, I have put 3 parts glue and 1 part water. On the side of my container, I measured with my ruler and did marks on the side there. And I did 1 inch and I did a 1/4 of inch for each part. So 3 parts glue and then I just did 1 part water at the end there. And I just used a toothpick to mix this. And it's also pretty runny, just like my flour mixture. Now to check this out, this one was done with the glue mixture and this was done with the flour mixture. It is a little bit clearer if you use the glue material than if you use the flour. The flour leaves a little bit of a kind of a dusty covering. Both of these containers are covered in tissue paper. This one I used paper, and the glue works better with the paper. I used some flour with my paper earlier today and it's already kind of starting to come off. So you might have to play with it a little bit. You are going to need, I just used old tissue paper that we had and some old flyers that we have laying around. It doesn't matter if it has any paper or any writing on it. And I have just pre-ripped them into small pieces. And I've done that to the tissue paper too. So I have my 1 container and I would recommend that you start on the bottom so that you can go around the edge and make it look a little bit better. If you use a solid color, then afterwards you can decorate it with crayons or markers or colored pencils, paint, because that would give you a clear surface. I happen to have a lot of containers that are already white and they don't have any writing on them. I do have my Pringles container. I'm not sure how this will work because it's cardboard, but it should work just the same as the plastic containers. But obviously I'd want to make this a clean surface before I decorated it. I used a yogurt container. Same if I was to cover this container, it would be really hard to decorate over the top of all these words. Plus, plastic doesn't hold, like marker would rub off and it's not going to allow you to use crayon or colored pencil on it. So to get started, I have my materials here. So these ones are here. I'm going to continue working on this container because I should have started on the bottom, which is why I know that to tell you that. And I was using some glue. So when you do this, you are just going to take your piece of tissue paper or paper and you're going to get some glue on it. And then you're going to use your fingers. This can get kind of messy, so make sure you ask your parents before you get materials or take papers from what they need or tissue paper from the thing. And I'm actually using my finger. I'm covering the whole bottom with glue because then I can just take some pieces and you want the glue to go on top of the paper, on the bottom. If you're using tissue paper, be forewarned, it's thinner. So it is going to probably, if you are not gentle, rip. And that's okay. The other thing I want you to notice, I'm just using my finger to dip it to get it more glue covered, is that you want to overlap it. The overlapping is going to make sure that you have coverage. You don't necessarily want to line them up right next to each other because then you won't end up with a nice smooth surface. You also may find that you want to do more than 1 coat and it's definitely going to need to dry before you decorate it. So if you want to add other decorations, you could always use like ribbon to tie a bow around it. You can give this as a gift if you want later on. So if you do Mother's Day is coming up, Father's Day is coming up. Everybody's working at home, so you might find that there might be more uses for holding things than there were previously. The other thing you could do is if you have a little dirt, you can turn it into a planter. So just know that you can use this for lots of different things. And I'm not done with this. I'll probably do a couple more coats and just overlapping. And this green and this light tan is really making it kind of pop. When you are finished with your project, please take a picture of the container you decorated and email it to me. I would love to see your creations. And don't feel limited to this. We're just trying to use up some containers that we have in our recycling. But if you want to create something else with this and take this skill of paper mache or decoupage and do it on something else, that would be great too. So until next week, have a great week and stay safe and healthy. Bye.